Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, is the popular face of British royalty. For nearly 100 years, she has dedicated herself unselfishly to her family, her friends, and her duties. With her two daughters on the balcony of Buckingham Palace, the two generations of royalty command a powerful audience.
Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, was long seen as the beloved face of British royalty. For nearly 100 years, she devoted herself selflessly to her family, her friends, and her royal duties. Standing on the balcony of Buckingham Palace with her two daughters, two generations of royalty captured the attention of the world. The Queen Mother left behind an extraordinary collection of jewels, more than 60 pieces, including diamond tiaras, emerald sets, and ruby creations crafted by Boucheron and Cartier. For years, these jewels were worn by those closest to the throne. Queen Camilla often wears them at state banquets. For a long time, this seemed to be the established order. But then Prince William made a significant decision that could change everything. He is now positioning his 10-year-old daughter, Princess Charlotte of Wales, as the future mainkeeper of these jewels. Not Camilla's granddaughters. Not the York princesses. Charlotte. The reasons behind this decision reveal something deeper about the future direction of the monarchy. The Greville bequest. To understand what William may be doing, we first need to understand what truly matters here. This is not just about jewelry. It is about power, prestige, and royal history stretching back more than a century. The famous Greville bequest, one of the greatest private jewel collections ever given to the royal family, began with Dame Margaret Helen Greville. Born in 1863 to the daughter of a wealthy Scottish brewery owner, she became one of the most influential hostesses of Edwardian Britain. At her grand estate, Polesden Lacey, she entertained kings, politicians, and prime ministers. Greville also commissioned spectacular jewels from Europe's finest jewelers, including Boucheron in Paris and Cartier in London. When she died in September 1942 during World War II, she made a surprising decision. She left her entire jewel collection, more than 60 pieces, to her close friend Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, who at that time was Queen Consort. In a letter to Queen Mary, she wrote excitedly, "I must tell you that Mrs. Greville has left me her jewels." After the legal process was completed in 1943, the jewels arrived at Buckingham Palace in a simple black tin trunk. Inside was one of the most remarkable private royal jewel collections ever assembled. The centerpiece was a spectacular honeycomb-patterned diamond tiara, designed in 1921 by Lucien Hertz for Boucheron. The piece became so famous that Cartier later redesigned it for Queen Camilla, who now wears it at major state banquets. The collection also included the dazzling Greville festoon necklace, a breathtaking 5-row diamond masterpiece created by Cartier in 1929, brilliant enough to illuminate an entire ballroom. There was also the Greville emerald kokoschnik tiara, diamond brooches, ruby and diamond sweets, emerald necklaces, and pearl drop earrings featuring stones weighing more than 20 carats each. Throughout her long life, Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, wore many of these pieces regularly. When she died in March 2002 at the age of 101, the Greville collection passed directly to her daughter Queen Elizabeth II without inheritance tax, because royal succession assets are exempt. Today the jewels are under the care of King Charles III and Queen Camilla, who oversee the collection and frequently wear the most famous pieces. For nearly 2 decades, many royal observers assumed the jewels would eventually pass from Camilla to the future Queen Consort, Catherine, Princess of Wales, and then continue through future queens. But now Prince William appears to be quietly shifting that expectation. Princess Charlotte's role. At the center of this shift is Princess Charlotte of Wales. Royal insiders say that when she is older, Charlotte may receive the first choice of pieces from the royal jewel collection. This includes items currently worn by Catherine, Princess of Wales, who already wears pieces from both the Greville collection and from Princess Diana. If true, the decision positions Charlotte as the future guardian of the monarchy's most significant jewelry collection, even before she becomes a teenager. A personal symbol, the Spencer tiara. Among the jewels associated with Charlotte's future collection, one piece stands out for its emotional significance rather than its price. The Spencer tiara. This was the tiara worn by Princess Diana on the most photographed day of her life, her wedding day. Its origins go back to 1767 when it was first created for Viscountess Montague. The Spencer family later acquired it in 1919 when Lady Cynthia Hamilton received it as a wedding gift from Viscount Althorp, Princess Diana's grandfather. During the 1930s, the tiara was remodeled and expanded with additional Spencer family jewels, including a distinctive heart-shaped diamond originally given as a wedding gift generations earlier. Music Princess Diana's father, John Spencer, 8th Earl Spencer, inherited the famous Spencer tiara in the 1970s. On the morning of her wedding in 1981, Diana chose to wear this family tiara instead of selecting one from the Queen's royal collection. That choice quietly showed where Diana's true loyalties lay. All three of Diana's sisters also wore the tiara on their wedding days, and most recently Celia McCorquodale, the niece of the current Earl Spencer, wore it at her wedding in 2018. Today, the tiara remains at Althorp House, the historic Spencer family estate in Northamptonshire. It is currently under the care of Charles Spencer, 9th Earl Spencer, Diana's younger brother. What makes Prince William's role especially significant is that he has reportedly reached beyond the royal household to secure this iconic piece for the future. According to royal sources cited by Royal Insider reports, in June 2025 William spoke directly with his uncle Earl Spencer about the future of the tiara. The insider quote explains, "Prince William is close with his uncle and has asked whether his mother's namesake tiara could one day be given to Charlotte. William knows his uncle has daughters of his own, but they have agreed that Diana's iconic piece should eventually belong to her first granddaughter. This is important for several reasons. First, it shows that William is already planning Princess Charlotte of Wales's inheritance years before it actually becomes necessary. This is not simply tradition unfolding naturally. It appears to be a carefully considered decision. Second, it acknowledges that there are other possible claims to the tiara, since Earl Spencer has daughters who might reasonably expect to wear it. Yet William seems to have approached the matter diplomatically. Third, and perhaps most importantly, it connects Charlotte directly to her grandmother Princess Diana, not as a distant historical figure, but as an active part of Diana's continuing legacy. According to palace insiders, Charlotte already knows about the tiara. She understands that Diana is one of her own names, Charlotte Elizabeth Diana, and she has seen photographs of her grandmother wearing the piece. For a 10-year-old princess, this is not just jewelry. It forms part of her identity. The Greville chandelier earrings. If the Spencer tiara represents the emotional centerpiece of Charlotte's future jewelry collection, then the jewels of the Greville bequest represent the royal collection's most important historic assets, and the transition of those pieces may already be underway. Among the most remarkable items are the Greville chandelier earrings. These spectacular earrings were originally commissioned by Dame Margaret Greville from Cartier in December 1918. Over the following decade, the design was refined and perfected, incorporating multiple diamond cuts in an elegant cascading style. When completed, the earrings weighed around 40 carats. The earrings were eventually inherited by Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, who wore them regularly throughout her life. In 1947, she presented them to her daughter Queen Elizabeth II as a wedding gift, making them one of the most personal royal jewelry gifts of the 20th century. Following the death of Queen Elizabeth II in September 2022, the earrings passed into the care of King Charles III, and members of the royal family began wearing them again. In November 2025, Catherine, Princess of Wales, wore the earrings at the Royal Variety Performance at Royal Albert Hall. Royal jewelry observers quickly noticed the significance. It confirmed that the Greville earrings had become a regular part of Kate's personal royal collection. She later wore them again at the BAFTA Film Awards in February 2026, reinforcing their status as a signature piece for her role as Princess of Wales. Court jewelers have also pointed out an interesting detail. Queen Camilla does not wear the Greville earrings because she does not have pierced ears. That small detail has larger implications. It means that the entire group of Greville earrings, some of the finest diamond jewelry produced in the early 20th century, are effectively associated with Kate. And in royal succession, what passes to Catherine, Princess of Wales, will eventually pass to Princess Charlotte of Wales. Every time Kate wears a pair of Greville earrings, she is doing more than simply wearing jewelry. She is quietly continuing a royal story that may one day belong to Charlotte. She is showing her role as a custodian. She is signaling her family's lineage. She is quietly shaping Princess Charlotte of Wales's future with these historic diamond pieces. But the bigger question is this: who is being bypassed and why does it matter? The headline story focuses on Charlotte's unusual inheritance. Yet the deeper issue, one that reportedly makes some palace insiders uneasy, centers on the specific names that appear after the word bypassing. And this exclusion is not accidental. It is deliberate. Queen Camilla, formerly Camilla Parker Bowles, has 2 children from her first marriage, Tom Parker Bowles and Laura Lopez. Laura has 3 children, including 2 granddaughters, Eliza Lopez and Gus Lopez. Tom also has children of his own. However, none of them hold royal titles or perform any official role within the monarchy. They are part of Camilla's family, but they are not part of the royal line. The phrase bypassing Camilla's granddaughters highlights an important reality. The jewels from the Greville bequest and other royal collections belong to the crown, not to Camilla personally. She only wears them in her role as queen consort. When King Charles III or Camilla eventually pass from the throne, the jewels return to the crown and move to whoever holds the next royal role. That means the line goes to Catherine, Princess of Wales, and eventually to Princess Charlotte of Wales. Eliza and the other Lopez grandchildren are simply not in line for these jewels because they are not in the line of succession. In other words, this is not a decision Prince William created. It is already built into the structure of the monarchy. What William appears to be doing is making Charlotte's future claim more visible. A similar comparison can be made with the York princesses, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie. Both are granddaughters of Queen Elizabeth II, making them blood royals. In fact, Eugenie famously wore the Greville Emerald Kokoshnik tiara at her wedding in 2018 with the Queen's permission. However, neither Beatrice nor Eugenie currently serves as a full-time working royal, and neither is considered the long-term guardian of the main royal jewel collection. Charlotte's position is different. Royal expert Katie Nicholl explained the hierarchy clearly. The queen consort receives the first choice of royal jewelry. After her comes the Princess of Wales, Kate. Other royal women may borrow pieces later, but they appear much lower in the order. This means the primary jewelry succession flows from Camilla to Kate, and eventually from Kate to Charlotte. Camilla's extended family was never part of that line. William is simply ensuring that everyone understands it. The Diana dimension, but Charlotte's inheritance carries a deeper message. William's actions surrounding Charlotte's future jewels are closely connected to one person, Princess Diana. What William seems to be building for Charlotte is not just a collection of jewelry. It is a living legacy tied to Diana herself. Charlotte's full name is Charlotte Elizabeth Diana. Her final name honors the grandmother she never had the chance to meet. Diana died in 1997, 18 years before Charlotte was born. Yet Diana's influence remains visible throughout the Wales family. It can be seen in William's charity work, in Kate's jewelry choices, and in the historic Spencer tiara kept at Althorpe House, possibly waiting for Charlotte one day. Many of Diana's personal jewels have already been passed down to Kate. The most famous example is Diana's sapphire engagement ring. William used it to propose to Kate in Kenya in 2010, and Kate now wears it almost every day. Kate also frequently wears Diana's pearl earrings and the elegant 3-strand pearl bracelet Diana wore during a public engagement in 1989. The diamond earrings William gave Kate, earrings Diana once wore to a performance of Swan Lake, will likely pass to Charlotte in the future. Another famous piece, the Queen Mary Emerald Choker, worn by Diana during the 1985 Royal Tour of Australia 1985, has also been worn by Kate and may one day become Charlotte's. Every piece Kate wears quietly links back to Diana. One day, those jewels may become Charlotte's inheritance. In an unusual way, Diana's legacy now intersects with that of Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. Diana joined the royal family in 1981, while the Queen Mother passed away in 2002, 5 years after Diana. Yet their histories are now connected through the jewels Charlotte may one day wear. William is not simply managing jewelry. He is managing a legacy. And when Charlotte appears at a state banquet 20 years from now wearing those diamonds, She may be carrying the continuing story of Diana's influence within the monarchy. When William becomes king, all of this points toward a larger moment in the royal future. Key developments: William's discussions with Earl Spencer, Kate frequently wearing Greville jewels, and Charlotte quietly being associated with them, suggest that long-term plans may already be forming. When Prince William eventually becomes king, Catherine, Princess of Wales, will become queen consort. At that point, the management of the royal jewel collection will naturally shift. Camilla may retain limited access as a dowager queen, but Kate would become the central figure overseeing many of the pieces. Historic jewels like the Greville tiara and the Kokoschnik could then be re-evaluated according to the tastes of the new king and queen. Court jewelers already believe many Greville pieces will eventually become part of Kate's regular collection. For example, the Greville ruby necklace, which Kate wore at the Spanish State Banquet 2017, signaled her growing association with the Greville jewels. Charlotte herself may begin wearing tiaras around the age of 17, which will likely draw enormous public attention. Her very first tiara choice will be especially symbolic. If she wears the Spencer tiara, it would honor Diana's memory. If she chooses a Greville piece, it would connect her to the deeper royal legacy. Either way, the message would be clear. The Queen Mother's diamonds are likely destined for Princess Charlotte of Wales, not for Camilla's granddaughters, and not for the York princesses. It will be Charlotte Elizabeth Diana who carries that legacy forward. And in doing so, she will reflect something deeply personal for her father: Prince William's enduring love for Princess Diana. William appears to be preparing for that future already. And when the moment arrives, the Queen Mother's diamonds will be waiting.